Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the Daily Sip. Apologies if you saw the little earlier one where I went live for about 7 seconds on my own, but that was a tech mistake on my side. But I hope you had a great weekend. It was a Father's Day in the UK yesterday, so for those that were able to catch up with dads, I hope you had a good time and generally, just a nice weekend. Today, we're going to be talking all about social enterprise, which I think we've naturally touched upon to lesser extents in lots of the interviews, but it's an opportunity to go in a bit more kind of clearly on the topic of social enterprise. So without further ado, Tiago, thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Martin, for having me here. Hello, everyone.
And we had a chat on the phone on Zoom about a month or so ago. We hadn't really met before that, and it was nice for me to learn a bit about what you do. I'm sure there's going to be more opportunity to learn more from my side today. But as always, it's a great chance to, for others to learn about your background and experiences and everything. So could you just give a little bit of a summary to who you are and what you're working on?
Yeah, sure. Well, my name is Tiago. I'm Brazilian. I live here in Scotland for 2 years and a half, almost three.
Was it Glasgow you said you are?
I'm living in Glasgow, yes.
Yeah.
I came to Glasgow for my master's,
Okay.
and but I co-founded a social enterprise in Brazil 5 years ago, more or less. But because of the crisis that we have there, the political crisis, the economical crisis that we are still having there, and the business didn't take off, especially because it was a very disruptive business,
Mhm.
and then it was very difficult to take off. Then I said I identified some gaps of mine to fill in, especially as an entrepreneur, and I came here for the economics course in the University of Glasgow,
Yeah.
which was one of the things that were missing in my 20 years of experience in marketing career. So it was something very different to tackle. And well, overall, I'm working marketing for 20 years, a little bit more. I started in '98, so
You
it's
say
been a while.
20 years?
20 years, yeah.
Wow. Are you like a young protege in marketing or something?
Yeah, that's like I say that I'm a vampire that nobody perceives that I work for so long.
No, but
But
you're not in your 40s, are you?
I'm just 40. Yeah,
Just 40, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, you've been
it's
working since you were like around 20 in marketing then, yeah?
yeah. I started with 18
Okay.
in an agency. Yeah, my first job was in a advertising agency,
Yep.
and I entered there as an intern. I was in the university already at the point.
Hmm.
And since then, I never stopped. So I worked in everything in marketing that you can imagine: public relations, design, events, communications, internal communications, external communications, advertising. So below, not many people are familiar with this, but below and above the line.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, I remember.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
and I work in all instances in marketing, and at the same time I did other stuff as well, like interior design and tourism, and so my background is very there is a variety of expertise in my background, especially the last one was economics,
Sorry,
so
Tiago, one second. Someone's saying that they're struggling to hear. I don't know if you're maybe,
maybe
yeah,
I can,
try that.
yeah, okay, then I can start like this, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's better. Thank you.
Yeah, and well, overall, my experience varies a lot, but every time was in communications, and I own some companies in the past. That's my fifth company, Passion4Social.
Right.
Yeah, so I often say that I have some successes and some failures. So I had two failures and two successes,
Yeah.
and then this is the 51. I hope it's a success. So far, so good. It's
Yeah.
been a success. And Passion4Social started in September 2018. Then we had the idea to have an agency to employ people with disabilities, to give them more opportunities. So it is a social enterprise because of the mission. Very few people are familiar with the social enterprise model, but that basically is balancing profits and social mission during you're doing your trading. So it's to get money. We get money, and with the money, use the money with the profits to reinsert into the company and multiply our impact, our social impact overall.
No, that's great. Thank you for that introduction. And I didn't want to jump in too early on the marketing and economic similarity. I wanted you to share with the audience what you're doing with Passion4Social. But yeah, of course, I did economics at uni, and my master's was in marketing. I haven't worked in marketing for 20 years, so there's a slight difference. But in the end, I think it's quite interesting how we're both using the sort of fundaments of business and marketing, whereby I would say partly it's sort of changing a narrative. For me, marketing is a way to change the general culture around disability. So I find that's quite like a vehicle for change through marketing. But also, you talked about the business structure that, you know, and that there's the impact that you make through what you do, but like it has to be financially sustainable. And I think maybe as a human race, we sometimes do things like it's black or it's white, and it's one extreme or another extreme. But what's very interesting about the social enterprise model, like your one and in general, is that, you know, people still need to have a living and a salary for the house, for the food, and for some fun. And like nobody would disagree with that. But then when there's an organization doing social good, some people question like, oh, well, shouldn't everybody volunteer? And it's just not, yeah, you're just not going to get the skills and the dedication, and it's just not a reality to having a successful social impact organization when there's no economic financial sustainability. And I think it's, for some people it's hard to get their head around that, but when they understand that the social enterprise is beautiful because you're making the world better, you're changing things for the better, but people are able to have that money that are working on it. But as you say, the profit is reinvested back into the organization as well. So it's like a real win-win-win-win-win, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I think everything that you said is true. But like, I truly believe that social enterprise can change the world.
Yeah.
It's something like if all the companies that we have in the world they were like social enterprises, we would have a much better world right now. Especially because we would be thinking about the social impact we are creating. And when we talk about economics, is everything about that. Very few people connect social enterprise to economics. Even the social entrepreneurs that I've met around, very few have the concepts of economics, which is very, very important when you are planning your social impact. Because many people think, okay, I'm not doing social impact because I'm helping these, and that people. And then when you start seeing, sometimes you have to check if the good you are doing is going to end in a good impact. Because sometimes you are doing good in a micro scale, but in the macro scale, you are not doing good at all. So there are some things like that we have.
There's an example of the charity model where, if not all charities, I think that sometimes it comes across like I have a negativity of charity, and I think in the disability world there are unfortunately some historical examples that are bad, whichever way you look at it. But it doesn't mean, of course, that all charities are negative. But with disability and charity in the past, if you fundraise for projects with a message that says, please help the poor, you know, unfortunate, needy, disabled people, the money maybe helps with independent living or with jobs or with all types of different things, that the money is helpful, but as you say, the macro of that message to the world is actually really damaging to inclusion of disabled people. So I think it's not directly connected to your point, but I think that micro macro in general sense is important to consider that.
Yeah, of course. There is even some studies about micro and macro that in economics that you see. Those studies, they studied impact in many projects around the world, and it's very interesting to see that there isn't, of course, a final conclusion about that, but overall the things are, if you don't plan and see if you what you're doing is going to impact positively, in the end, all your project is going to be wasted. And it's what we're saying, like every single action that we have an impact. So if you're helping people with disabilities or on any other cause that you're helping, uh, it's important to check every single detail of what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I
And
agree.
very few people pay attention to that because they just think, oh, I have to do that, and
Yeah,
because it's good.
yeah,
But
yeah,
in the end of the day, you're not helping. It's like, the example you gave is fantastic because
yeah,
it's exactly that. The message that we have around the world is that people with disabilities, they don't have the competence, they don't have, they're not going to do a good job, or because they have some sort of disability, and that's a general prejudice around employers
mm-hmm.
for this. And there are several like researches just backing up what we just saying, and it's just sad when you think about that because people with disabilities, they just have a disability like everyone else. Like sometimes the people don't have a physical disability, but they have a mental disability.
Yeah,
And I'm just not saying about the dyslexia or cerebral palsy or something. I'm just saying normal people like this, normal people,
yeah, yeah,
they have their own psychological issues,
yeah,
and sometimes it's a disability as well. So
yeah.
everyone has your own disability somehow.
Yeah, are you referring more in the sort of like attitude to life as well, the sort of general, like not the, or do you mean like a medical, like mental health kind of medical difficulties, or more the general, the way people choose to see the positives or negatives in like a kind of
It's more in the general way.
life? Yeah,
Yeah, it's more in the general way because I've worked with so many people around the world, and some of the guys that they are healthy and able and so on, they have much more problems than anyone else,
yeah, yeah,
and sometimes those problems they impact what they are doing, and that's I like to think that the diversity is the most important part in everything that we do,
yeah.
because the diversity brings so many different different perspectives,
Mm.
and also you can with like a diverse team or a diverse relationship around with your family and friends and so on. You can have different ways of thinking, and
Yeah,
sometimes you the diversity you have to include everyone, and when you just label someone, it's hard to get into what that person can contribute.
yeah, agreed.
I don't
I
know
was
if I
out.
made sense. Yeah, in there.
What's that?
I don't know if I made sense in there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think diversity, it's on a business level, it's becoming understood to be fundamental for having talented workforce, for being like open to the all the different consumer bases. So I think finally businesses that have the power to make more change are understanding that. But yeah, I mean, it's the right thing to do as well to have that diversity at work and in the consumer as well. So yeah, I mean, I think we've obviously covered your background and experience with economics and marketing, and we've sort of framed the general way that social enterprise can be a powerful force for change. So it'd be good to go a little bit deeper into passion for social. So like, what's like the elevator pitch? How would you normally describe what passion for social does?
Well, Passion4Social is a creative agency that we create sustainable employment opportunities for people with disabilities. So overall, we do graphic design, web design, um, content writing, also brand storytelling, and lately we are also doing website accessibility tests.
Hmm.
So we also check the accessibility for the websites. So we hire a number of people with disabilities to help us to test it. So blind people, people with dyslexia or learning disabilities, and other types of disabilities, deaf people, just to see if the website is compliant with the WCAG, which is the Web Consortium
Yeah.
Accessibility guidelines. And then we do tests for that in it's like more a consultancy part, and that's what we do. So we employ people with disabilities, we promote the diversity, and in the end, we are trying to be a very great agency to compete in the world, and to show people the bottom line is to show people that people with disabilities can be there in the top ranking of agencies as any other agency that they don't have people with disabilities. Yeah.
So in terms of the creative, the marketing agency, the clients don't necessarily need advice or consultancy on accessibility. Like they sometimes do, and you have that capability, but sometimes it's just a general brand with a general marketing need. But
Mhm.
the people that you employ in the agency, they have a disability. Is that correct?
Yeah, right now we are in 10 people, and five of us have disabilities.
So 50% of the work.
Yeah, 50%, yes. But our idea is to increase these numbers even more.
Sure.
It's just because we are building the company. As I said, we are less than 2 years yet. So we are building the company. But the funny part, because the culture is so diverse, and
Mm.
so I am Brazilian. We have another three immigrants in the team. So in the team of 10, we have six Scottish, four immigrants, and from the 10, we have seven women, three men. So we are very diverse, and five
Diversity.
people with,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, five people with disabilities, five with non-disabilities. So that's what we have right now. So we are promoting and we are building a company, a very diverse company already.
And so I was muting myself. We got a garbage truck outside. It's not too loud, but apologies if you can hear it. Um, and of the sort of client work, how much would you say roughly is disability accessibility specific, and how much is general marketing client work?
Right now, I would say that 80% is general marketing work.
Yeah,
We are mostly doing annual reports. We are doing websites. We are also doing like leaflets, some social media, digital marketing campaigns. So that's what we are doing with the clients in general. Of course, the websites we develop, they are all compliant with the accessibility. But for the
yeah. I guess
accessibility,
also it's just kind of embedded, isn't it? Like if you're doing a website for someone, it shouldn't be, do you want it accessible or not? It will be accessible. So in a way, you're changing that landscape just because you have that awareness and knowledge when you're making websites, right?
exactly. So when you talk about websites, accessibility, the first time I got in contact with accessibility was when I started Passion4Social. Before that, I didn't have much contact with accessibility, design accessibility. So accessibility design, the opposite. In
Yeah.
Portuguese make more sense than the other way around. and but accessibility design, and then I started studying the accessibility design, and there are so many tricks and things that we need to pay attention to that when you are a designer, you don't pay attention at all.
Yeah.
So since we started Passion4Social, we start getting into deeper and deeper into this subject. And what's interesting about that is because most of the websites, they are not accessible at all, especially for the ones that they need software to read. So it's to a screen reader or software that translates something for blind people or someone who has difficulties to see it. Another thing is, for example, even the texts, like the way you position the texts, they are different for people with dyslexia, for example. And the people with dyslexia, we can say that 20-30% of the population have dyslexia.
Hmm.
And then when you put a text over there, and then if it's too close or if it's wrong aligned into the blocks, you just make it more difficult to be read and to be read. And then when you think about that, there are so many things that we have to pay attention to, and not only on the back end but also on the front end and the other way around. So when we develop it, we pay attention to this, and we make the tests with the tools that we have to make tests, and then also have the team that have disabilities that we ask them to make the tests in their own disability, how they perceive the website.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So in a way that when you talk about the social mission, the social impact, there's a very obvious fact around the higher percentage of employees that have a disability. If you think they say 22% of the population have a disability. So when I was working at the charity Scope, they tried, and it wasn't always easy, to have 20% of their workforce with a disability, bearing in mind they employed thousands of people. So it was a higher overall number. But yeah, like that was what they aimed for at 20%, and you have 50%. So this is obviously a really powerful actuality, like it actually providing job opportunities and career opportunities. But it's a very powerful message to share to the rest of the world about employing more diversity and disability. But then, as you're saying, with the clients, even if they don't come to you and say, we want to make sure we're accessible for the 22% of the world with disability, it's kind of embedded in the work you deliver. You're making sure that it's got that, and you're educating the client, and maybe even they start to open their mind up. So I can see there's like an impact through the workforce, but there's also an impact through the business world as well, right?
Exactly, exactly. That's something that, as you said, it's embedded in our businesses. That's all the works that we do. So even the printed design, we pay attention to that because we have the color contrast that we have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
The size of the fonts. So when you type something, you have to be aware of the size of the fonts. So
Mhm.
it's embedded, and as you said, that there is this impact, this direct impact of educating the clients to do that, and it's great that here in Scotland, most of the tender opportunities that we have, they are already asking for the WCAG
Mhm.
3.1 to be
So they
compliant.
are aware of that.
Yes, they are already aware, which is there is even a law here in the UK that all the public bodies they must be compliant or have an accessibility statement in their websites. So it's something that is very positive in the end. But it was nice that we were commenting right before about the impact that we are having the clients and with through our workforce. But one of the things that we are also doing is creating a system to work with people with disabilities because we know that's the diversity we can have people that they can work full time, they can work just part time, or they have flexible hours. And in the end of the day, the client won't wait for those people to receive their work, so we have to, in order to survive in the market, we have to be compliant in the timelines,
Yeah.
so the deadlines that we have. And to do that, we have to create a system to work with different people and that overlap the skills and overlap the timelines. So we use Asana, which is a project management tool, and with Asana, Google Drive, and other Slack, other technological tools, we are always communicating around the organization, and then everyone overlaps everyone. So if someone is doing a type of task and didn't finish, the other person just can step in and finish that.
Mm-hmm.
So we are creating a way to make the wheel turning without stopping,
Mm-hmm.
and making these once we have these 100%, because right now it's not 100%, we are just improving the model.
Mm-hmm.
And when we have the model, our idea is to create a guideline or a booklet or something that we can deliver to all the companies in the world, like how to work with people with disabilities, because
Mm-hmm.
then we can teach them how to do the processes and
Yeah.
make the process work, regardless the how many hours the person is working, or who is working there, and
Yeah.
at the same time keep your profit, keep your costs low, for example. So it's important to create something like that. That's part of our mission as well,
Yeah.
to bring this message to the world, that's possible to join everyone in there.
So it's sort of like innovating the operational processes so that instead of having one person doing the full-time job and only responsible for certain tasks, you have the project is clear, and the progress and the documents of a project, and then different people can come in and out and keep moving the project forward, but it doesn't have to be the same person. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that's the idea.
That's cool. Yeah, that's really clever. I mean, that sort of brings me into the obvious current question of COVID-19. I mean, on a personal level, on a business level, but also you're talking about Asana and Google Drive. I mean, they've become more of a backbone of businesses now than ever because of remote working. But yeah, just be good to get your thoughts and insights on how it's been the last couple of months, your side.
I would say that in when you talk about the work itself, didn't change much, because our business model is from home much
Yeah.
before COVID.
I
So
also already from home, yeah.
yeah, everyone works from home. So
Wow.
yeah, like we set up the company this way, like everyone working from home,
Yeah, yeah,
especially because when you take people with disabilities, most of people with disabilities, they stay at home, because of accessibility and mobility issues. So they can take a bus, or they can take something to get to the office, or they don't have the right structure in the office. So we to potentialize and expand our reach to people with disabilities, we create this model to work from home. So in this sense, we were not impacted by the COVID, but of course, May and June have been more quiet.
yeah.
They've been a little bit quieter in the sense that the businesses are a little bit afraid to invest,
Of
or
course.
to spend money in
Yeah,
marketing. But on the other hand, there are some other businesses that they are more into investing, because they need more than ever a new website, or a new process online, or they have to impact more customers. So we are right in the balance. I would say that our revenue went down about 10-20%,
okay.
which is not that much if you consider the situation.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
so yeah, so we had a very slight impact, but overall, we could say that we are progressing well during the COVID.
Yeah, no, it's good to hear in terms of it not impacting you too negatively. I mean, for you personally, have you found it particularly negative, the sort of restrictions and the lockdown, or have you I mean, you worked at home anyway, so has some ways has it been similar for you personally?
Yeah, personally speaking, I work from home, it's been a while already, almost 15 years that I work from home, so I'm
Okay.
very used to it. So even
Yeah.
in the other companies that I founded, I most of my time was at home rather than the office, so it was okay. I would say that just the fun part, like going to the pubs or a restaurant or just taking
The
the road to
social.
somewhere
Yeah.
else. Yeah, so that's well, I miss a bit that, but overall it's more or less the same, I would say.
So the passion for social is like both. You normally have a passion for the other social as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's a 360 degrees passion.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned that you're from Brazil eventually. I mean, and you said at the beginning it's impacted Brazil very hard, the virus, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's growing a lot. As I said right in the beginning, like our political crisis, it's been very extended already. It started in 2014, more or less, 13, 14, that started this political crisis because the country is split in two uh, ways of thinking, more or less. So it's very, very hard what's happening there. And the current president is, I don't know if I can say that, but it's worse than Trump. So,
Right. Okay. Wow.
yeah, if it's possible, yeah, it's possible. And the public policies against Corona, they are a joke, really a joke.
Right. Okay.
And so the virus is spreading a lot because well, in the end of the day, if you don't have a very good public policy and then just you have to check if the people are being compliant or not.
Yeah.
It's not happening because until someday, like the lockdown wasn't official in the
Hmm.
country, wasn't official. So
Okay.
there are some states that they were implementing it, but even the in the country wide, like the national opinion was okay. You do what you want to do. That's it.
Yeah.
So this is spreading a lot. I checked it today. We have already 1 million cases in Brazil and already 50,000 deaths to date. So
Okay.
yesterday 600 people died. So
Wow. Yeah.
it's a lot. But
Yeah.
in the end, when you think about that, it is still a big country. So we are talking about the 220 million people in the country.
Wow.
Like the percentages that are still below the UK.
Okay.
If you consider the average per inhabitant, so
Yeah.
every 1 million people in the UK died like 500 people more or less,
Hmm.
and then in Brazil is still 300 people.
Yeah.
So it's still lower than some other countries, but it's very concerning because the virus got there about a month after here.
Yeah.
So we still have some growing numbers to come.
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, it's who knows where we're going to be in a week or a month or a year. It's all very unknown at the moment. But I mean, for passion for social, and for you, what are the kind of plans? Is it just more of the same? Keep building up the business, employing more people. Is that the kind of main objective at the moment?
Yeah, our main objective was to get the sustainability, the financial sustainability. Right in the beginning, we got a grant from Big Lottery, which helped us a lot to build the business. Right now, we are 8 to 90% sustainable already. So
Hmm.
we just want to get a full sustainable, like to say, okay, I don't rely on anything else,
Yeah.
and that's our main goal to be fully sustainable, and of course to keep building up the team. Right now we are 10 people. Our goals is to have around 15 to 16 next year, until June next year. So if we have 16 people next year, probably we are going to hire more 3 or 4 people with abilities
Okay.
and keep it building up the company, which is growing fast if you consider the time of living of the company.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And what about for social enterprise? Are you sort of up on any, I don't know, any changes to the social enterprise models, or any thoughts going into the future of how social enterprise is going to keep helping change the world, as you say?
Do you mean in general, right?
Yeah, in the bigger picture.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I would say that we still need some more data around social enterprises, because the data that we have, they are very very low, or they are not comprehensive in the sense that you can take decisions on what to do and what not to do. Of course, you have many books and many things. One of my dissertation theme was microeconomics in social enterprises, and
Mm-hmm.
then I made a very extensive research on books, and like I had more than 3,000 references, more or less. Yeah, I read a lot. I
That's
read a lot,
impressive. Yeah,
it's amazing how you don't have a formula for that. But
yeah.
I think the general message that I see is, if you are financially sustainable, and and also you keep the balance in between the profit and the mission that you are getting.
It's a
Uh,
balance. Yeah,
that's the balance. The balance is the key for a social enterprise model.
yeah,
And if you keep this, you're going to have success. And of course, it's important to put out as many as possible tools to measure your social impact. It's very, very difficult to measure the social impact, because there are so many variables.
mm,
Because you are creating a social impact just by employing one person.
yeah,
But when you start going to the bigger picture, like the macro scale of the society, there are other things that we are also creating. So, for example, every person that we employ with disabilities, we are saving more or less from 5 to 10,000 pounds per person for the government,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
just in medical
yeah.
expenses, or benefits and other things.
Mm-hmm.
So every person that we employ with people with disabilities, we have an extra 10K for the government to do something better in another way, so we can build some more roads, or can
Yeah.
improve the hospitals, or can improve the education system.
And then you've
Uh,
got the consumer spending of the person working, and the financial independence, and they pay tax revenues back to the government from their income. So yeah, it's a
and
very
generate
big,
and generate
very,
more jobs for other companies. So because they are buying more,
yeah.
so that's I would say that's a very good snowball that we can get.
Mate, we could geek out for hours on this stuff.
Yeah,
But man, people don't realize that. They talk. I mean, even within. I mean, it's a bit of a tangent from social enterprise, but like I get a budget for my care support. So even when I'm working, I still need care support to have the independent living side. But even that, although it's government money, it still does create jobs, which creates
yeah,
tax revenue, which so that the money goes round and round, and it can be used very cleverly for the economy. And I think that's the key, is that we want the government to understand that invest in disabled people and invest in businesses to be more inclusive, and employing disabled people, because in the long run it comes back in a plentiful amount.
yeah, exactly that. I think it's that's comes back to what we said in the beginning. Like if all companies were social enterprises, we wouldn't stop the stream of money. So
Yeah.
right now, with the capitalism that we have, we stop the stream by concentrating the money in just one person, or
Mm.
like 10 people around the world. They can pay for entire Africa, for
Yeah,
example. So
exactly.
it's like we are just getting this stream stuck. So the idea is, for a social enterprise, is to make it flow
Yeah.
around all the social spheres in the society.
Mm.
And then when you think about this, you say, okay, it makes more sense, because I'm not going to be millionaire, but I'm going to have a very good life, and
Yeah,
everyone
standard of
else
living.
around me is going to have this as well. So it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Amazing. We've got a comment on LinkedIn. I'll bring it up from Lois. Hey, Tiago, great to hear your global view and insights here. We have enjoyed fully remote advertising and interviewing with you for an intern during lockdown. So it's someone I think you know Lois from before, right?
Yeah, Lois is from the Inclusion Scotland,
Uh-huh.
and we started a partnership. I would say 2-3 months ago, more or less. Then we it's very hard to recruit people with disabilities, but many people think that you just go there and say, okay, I'm going to advertise, and people with disabilities are just going to pop up in our advertising,
Yeah.
which is not true. It's very hard. Like when you advertise, people with disabilities in general, they don't believe in these advertisings because they think that they are not for them. And because of this difficulty, we approached Inclusion Scotland to help us to reach more people with disabilities to
Mhm.
employ. And a couple of months ago, we decided to employ an apprentice. And then there is a very good program with the Inclusion Scotland that they are fully funded for 6 months. Then they have the all the support from Inclusion Scotland, and of course we can create a position in our company with this person. So we interviewed already the person last week, before last week, and then last week we did the offer. So this person is going to start, I think, tomorrow in our company. So
Wow.
it was amazing to work with Inclusion Scotland, and I really recommend they work with for anyone in the markets that wants to employ people with disabilities. They are a very good channel to
Mm.
get very good candidates, and I'm very impressed to be an apprentice. To be honest, just a comment in there because
Yeah.
I'm very impressed that the next person that we are employing. Uh, he's an apprentice, but he's very very competent in what he has to say or what to do. So it's more than I was expecting for an apprentice.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Cool. Well, we're coming to the end now. I think the main thing to ask you is if how people can keep in touch. You know, where's your website? How can they connect with you online?
Yeah, well, I'm in LinkedIn, so Thiago Carmo, it's easy to find. And there will be some other Thiago Carmos around the world, especially in Brazil. But but if you search for Passion4Social, for as a number, so
The number.
Passion for Social, and you can find all our contacts. Please follow our pages on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter, and just keep in touch. Just write to us there, and we'll be in touch. Happy to discuss anything, regardless if it's business or not. But it's just about the social. We are glad to discuss as well.
Brilliant. That's really yeah. Glad we got to do this today, Tiago. It's really interesting, and I think we're very aligned on how business and marketing can be a force for good. And yeah, just good luck with everything in the future, and congratulations for where you've got to now.
Thank you so much, Martin, for inviting me. I think it's amazing to spread the word, and not only about Passion for Social, but about the social enterprise model, and also the things that we can do with diversity.
Yeah.
So that's thank you for the opportunity, and I hope to talk to you soon, and we can build some projects together.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Awesome. Thank you, mate. And everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for the comments that came in. And I'll be back tomorrow. I've got Tom Pokinko, who works for Open Inclusion, who I've done quite a lot of work with over the last 4 or 5 years as their panel lead. So I know Tom quite well. But really, Open Inclusion is a research and design innovation consultancy. So Tom will be sort of looking at how disabled people's voices and experience can help design better products and services. So should be an interesting one tomorrow. So have a great Monday, everyone, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.